Do you have a dedicated space where you create your art or your own little art studio? Or do you have a table and desk set up somewhere in maybe the kitchen or your dining room for you to create? In today's video, I thought I'd share with you the space I use indoors as my art studio. Hello and welcome to Country Boardwalk Studios. If this is your first time here, I'm CB Mac, and I love sharing tutorials about various multimedia for plein air painting, urban sketching, and even a few tutorials of how to make your own art supplies. So, let's get going. So, how much space is actually required to create art as an artist? That truly depends on the artist and what they're comfortable with using. In the past 6 years, when I first began creating art, I have used this same space that I'm about to share with you for creating all my art that I've done. All the sketchbooks that I've shared with you in past videos, all the videos where I've recorded, I have done in this little area of my house. And the area that I've used, you might be surprised with the amount of space I have set up for my art studio. So, would you be surprised to see that this is the amount of space of my art studio? I'm in my living room. That's my front window with the couch that the dogs sit on. And this little corner is my art studio, where I do all my painting, all my filming, and I'll show you in just a minute. I'll set up the tripod that I use for filming. The little tripod that I use for filming outside is the same tripod that I use when I'm filming, and basically positioning my camera above this sofa section where my art table setup is. There you have it. This is how I film all my videos for YouTube. I have this cheap little old Samsonite tripod, and normally it has the phone that I'm using right now to film attached to it, just like this old one is. And this is how I film all those videos that you guys have been watching on my channel. Very simple, very basic setup. It doesn't require a lot to be able to film my videos. The only extra thing that I've done is I've bought a new microphone so you guys can hear me and my audio is better. Everything that I film and do is on my Apple iPhone. So what exactly do I have set up here? In the corner here, I have my most used pencils and ruler and the rubber bands and some of my aqua brushes. I keep my large tripod in its bag there. The Samsonite one that I had just had set up there. Over here in the corner, we have my travel art bag with all my art supplies in it. We also have a little tub here, and in there is my headphones and some odds and ends, like my
square fluid art pad papers. That's where I keep also my color chart book with all my swatches. There's some Arches paper and some odd and ends of art books that I'm using, and my last Etcher sketchbook that we just filled, along with my chart for my color wheel. We've got the various artwork. This is all artwork that my children have done, not me. The only artwork I have done is this piece right here, and I apologize for the glare. These are velvet art pieces that my father had and got that I keep on the wall for inspiration. And then we have my art mannequin, some old brushes, another ruler. This is where I keep my masking fluid, my spray bottle, spritzer bottle, and my dropper bottle. And then my P.H. Martin's white. I have my own jar of black walnut ink that I've made, and this is the amount of water that I leave over here in the area for when I'm doing my water. I've got my water jar and my little water bowl.
All right, and then we have my 3-stacked storage unit. The top section here has all my odds and ends pencils and old painting palettes. And the second one has more painting palettes, all the different setups and plastic odds and ends, supplies, backup supplies, tape, and all my extra pencils and such. Under this is where I keep I've got my old bag of colored pencils and drawing pencils, my denim roll-up brush holder and pencil holder that I've shared with you guys before. We've got my big ultimate backpack in here. I'm going to pull that aside. And then I have an even bigger setup of more art supply. And then in this next shelf, we have my microwave glass plate from an old microwave. And I use this for mostly gouache paints and that. But in here you can see I've got more plastic palettes. My Winsor & Newton palette. My studio palette. I've got my second Winsor & Newton Cotman field set. I've got my Art of Soil. I've got my basic set of gouache in here. I've got my oil pastels and my erasers, my Field Artist palette, and just a couple of other odd palettes. And then in this big tin, this is where all my tubes of watercolor and wash paints are. And I just store them all together, because if I store them all together, I tell myself that I'm not going to buy any more paints until I use these up, unless I get sent some, art supplies from someone else. And my tip is that when your microwave breaks, if it has one of these removable glass plates, I keep every one of those, because those come in handy for painting. And if I'm using watercolors and gouache, then I have a place for both different sets. And then the very last shelf has all of my watercolor paper. I still have this perfect sketchbook, which is an A4, as you can see right there, 29 centimeters by 21 centimeters, or the 11.4 inches by 8.3 inches in the landscape format with 44 pages, along with all my other supplies of sketchbooks yet to be used, mixed media papers, little miniature canvases, art canvases, watercolor postcards, odds and ends, other sketchbooks. Still, this is all paper, art papers that have not even been used yet, that I have got to use up still. So, get in there, come on. And then, of course, I have my bigger pads of art paper over here to the side. And that. So I hope you've enjoyed this tour of Country Boardwalk Studios, and that it inspires you to find a comfortable place where you can do your own creative art. Regardless of whether you have a shed to call your art studio, or whether you use your hobby sewing room as your studio, your desk in the corner of a living room, your dining or kitchen table, or like me, you use your couch or your love seat in the corner of your living room as your studio. Make sure that you have a space where you can do your own creative art and that you're comfortable with using it. This setup is not for everybody. Find out what works best for you to set up as your own art studio. So there you have it, guys. Country Boardwalks Studios. Thank you for watching the video, Boardwalkers. If you've enjoyed the video, could I get you to click that thumbs up like button and then share this video with someone else who you think might also enjoy the video? And if you're not already subscribed, click that button over here. It makes a huge difference to the growth and the support of my channel. And to all of my subscribers that I have so far, I do appreciate each and every one of you. Feel free to post any comments or questions that you have down below. I do read each and every one of those comments, and I try to answer all the questions. Also, click that bell notification so you'll know when my next upcoming videos are. I look forward to seeing you guys again next week, Boardwalkers. Goodbye for now. Go watch these next.